Shigeru Miyamoto woke up one morning thinking, money! And so Super Mario Maker was born. In the game, you build your own Mario levels that you can put online for the world to enjoy, and you can also try out other people's stages yourself. However, what would happen if Nintendo made a Zelda version of this concept? Would that even work, and will it ever happen? Well, let's find out. Now to the core, Super Mario Maker is a game creator application for the Wii U, which allows players to insert blocks, enemies, items and more from the Super Mario Bros. Series to create and share their own 2D Super Mario levels. They are able to set up and edit the length and width of the stages, the course's theme, and the game styles, and are able to use various objects, items, and enemies. You are able to combine things, change stuff, and you can really create what you want. There is a surprising amount of detail in the game. Besides that, there are all kinds of different game modes and options like the 10 Mario Challenge. Here, the goal is to clear 8 randomly selected sample courses with up to 10 lives. Or the more difficult variant known as the 100 Mario Challenge, which gives the player 100 lives to clear a certain number of user-created courses. 8 courses on easy, 16 courses on normal and expert, and 6 courses on super expert. However, how would all of this work in The Legend of Zelda? That's an adventure game after all, where you go through dungeons and do side quests. How would you put that into a game? Something like this can be a lot more complex. Think about things like dialogue and story. Well, the only thing that would be able to work is 2D, just like with Mario. A 3D world would be too complex for most players. There's just too much to keep in mind with such a layout. It would be extremely difficult to keep a simple and orderly design for that. If Nintendo would ever make a Zelda Maker, then it would most likely look like a Link Between Worlds. This game features traditional 2D top-down gameplay as seen in the earlier Zelda games like the very first one. So now we have an idea of what the world would look like. And in terms of level editor, it would function in a similar way to Super Mario Maker. You can just select whatever you want and place it, combine stuff where needed with chests for example, connect stuff like buttons and doors with a combined select system, and set properties for objects, for example which blocks can be pushed. Besides that, they would have to add a system where you can give a character dialogue, and that they can give items or unlock certain portions of the game. So all of this is already a lot more complicated than the Mario version. Mostly because 2D side-scrolling levels are very simplistic. And the world of Zelda has a lot more different factors that affect the gameplay, one of the biggest being actual characters. Another thing that would make it a lot more hectic and complex is the actual world. In Mario, the level goes from left to right, and that's kind of it. You can't lose track of your work. But the 2D top-down is completely different when it comes to this. The world will be a lot bigger, and you can go in every direction you want. One good way of keeping track of this would be a map that shows you where stuff has been placed, and you can label things so you know where the towns and dungeons are. Without this, it would be extremely messy, and you would lose track of literally everything, especially if you're connecting a lot of stuff with each other. Overall, it would be extremely similar to RPG Maker, a series of programs for the development of role-playing games. This game has similar features, however, it's more of a classic RPG with turn-based combat, so it's not exactly the same. However, it's a good example of what it would look like. But there's one final question. What kind of styles would be possible? Well, with Super Mario Maker, you can switch between Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario World, and New Super Mario Bros. U. So you get a good mix of old and new, but which ones would we see with Zelda Maker? Well, the most likely combination of games would be the original Zelda, A Link to the Past, the Minish Cap or DS games, and A Link Between Worlds. This would be a good mix overall. Besides that, these games have a wide range of enemies, items, and other assets. And when it comes to game modes, I wouldn't really know what they would go for. There are a lot of options after all, and it kind of depends on how big the levels can get. So now that we have an idea of what it would look like and what kind of things would be included, we can talk about the next point. Would Nintendo ever create a Zelda Maker game? Well, they actually commented on this, and sadly enough, it doesn't look good. Speculation has since the making of Super Mario Maker run wild amongst the Nintendo community, pertaining to what beloved franchise may be hit with the Maker subtitle next. But it sounds as if The Legend of Zelda won't be the series in question, or at least, it won't be for some time still. An interview between Aonuma, The Legend of Zelda series producer and game reactor, has surfaced, and in it the topic of a Zelda maker was brought up. He appeared more curious about the interviewer's reaction to such a title initially, asking if the individual would like it. After confirming that such a game would ensure that the gamer rarely left their house, Aonuma responded by saying, "Well, I'll keep it in mind that there are people who could appreciate that then, but this is not something we considered." And Game Informer got the chance to sit down with producer Tezuka and pop the question as well, and he said, "Zelda Maker might be a challenge to make, I think. Personally, making Super Mario Maker was a challenge in itself, and we hope that it's a success. So, thank you for saying that, but I think that might be a difficult task. So it's possible, however not likely, and especially not anytime soon. But luckily enough, the Nintendo Switch would work very well with this type of game. You can use either the touchscreen to drag and drop stuff where needed, or just a controller. Because of this, a lot of people think Super Mario Maker will come to this console. Now, because Nintendo doesn't create Zelda Maker, well, for the time being, fans have been working on something fun in the back room of the internet. Justin Sink, a hobbyist game creator, got to work within Game Maker in 2015 to create a design suite that anybody could use to make a Zelda game. Just like Super Mario Maker, you could place elements such as enemies and landscape sprites anywhere in the digital canvas. Sink released an early version of the tool as Zelda Maker online, Link included, and the game blew up. However, there was a certain group of people that didn't like it: Nintendo. The videos the game was showcased in got copyright claimed by Nintendo on YouTube, which in turn blocked everyone from viewing the footage. The alpha also got dinged as Mediafire, the file hosting website that helped Sink, received a DMCA notice over copyright infringement. Zelda Maker, along with the original proof of its existence, had to be taken down. The original version of this game was essentially destroyed, and so we lost the very first ever Zelda Maker. Despite those troubles, the game was eventually reborn as Legend Maker, but that, in of itself, was not the product Sink wanted to share with the world. Instead, he used Legend Maker to create a game of his own. Why not take a normal name? An action RPG. So Nintendo knows about this game and what kind of hype it created. Kinda sad that they copyright striked it, but it's understandable. However, will they start thinking about creating their own version of this concept? They already have some experience with it because of the Mario version, and they have seen a good example of how it could be done. Well, it's Nintendo. Super Mario Maker also came out of nowhere, so who knows really? Only time will tell. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to watch more videos, click the annotations on the screen right now. And if you want to subscribe, then that's great too. This voiceover was pure hell for me because, I don't know, sometimes I just have a hard time voicing stuff. And this time I mispronounced a lot. Rip my life. Give me likes.